Hey there, Fred fans. Just wanted to quickly talk about, I've talked about Fred, the fact that Fred has been doing a little bit of resource guarding. He's really pretty good about toys every once in a while, and this is not the best time to demonstrate this because there are no other dogs here except Clancy, and he's over by the door sleeping. And Fred and Clancy are very good friends now, but if another dog, comes over, he might get a little bit possessive about his ball and his frisbee, which is in the pool. Those are his two most favorite things. So one thing I do to try to avoid, to avoid conflict, yes, but over the long term, one thing I'm doing to try to communicate to Fred that, first things first, in order for him to not be so obsessive about these particular items and try to possess them, I want him to know that ultimately they're my toys, that I'm sharing them with him, so that takes the pressure off of him to feel like he owns them and has to protect them. So first of all, when he brings the ball back, you'll notice he'll bring it back to the grass and lay down with it. I won't go over and get it because that gesture is kind of like me coming over and taking his toy. Rather, I will call him to me and I'll give him commands like, okay, Fred, get the ball, bring it here, drop it, or give. So then it's like I'm saying that's my item and you need to do something for me in order to earn my throwing it for you or whatever. So it just changes the dynamic, and doing that consistently over time lets Fred know that, what I was just saying. But also, if he does, start seeming possessive of a toy or gets a little bit grumpy when other dogs are around his toys, I simply pick him up and put it away for, a timeout basically, and then I'll bring it back down off the shelf and, give him the opportunity to make a different choice and maybe share the toy. It's not totally abnormal at all. It's quite normal actually for dogs to, not necessarily want to share their things. But Fred, as a puppy, had zero issue sharing with anyone because he was around so many other dogs, and he wasn't worried about anything. He wasn't worried that anyone was going to take anything from him. So he didn't have that inclination to guard. So anyway, the other thing is that sometimes I'll put both the ball and the frisbee in play, because what happens is, see how the frisbee is over there on the deck, right? So he had to leave the frisbee in order to go get the ball. It's hard for him sometimes to leave these really prized items because he's like, if he's feeling like he has to guard them, then he's like, oh God, gets nervous and kind of anxious about it. But watch, Fred, bring it here. Bring it here, Fred. Ready? Bring it here. Leave it. Good boy. Ready? Not to mention this entire time he's getting both mental and physical exercise. We've been out here for about an hour at this point because I'm also sitting at my outdoor desk working. But anyway, so we're just, that's what we're working on today. Hope you enjoyed watching Fred do his thing. This is his most favorite thing in the world. Also, one last thing. So while he's out there getting the ball, I can go over here and pick up the frisbee unattended, right? Which, if he was being all possessive of this, it would make him nervous. But he's so used to me doing this, it's just another way of me saying, okay, here's my frisbee. Do you want to go chase it? Do you want to drop the ball and then I'll throw that? You know what I mean? Just basically, different ways of communicating things to Fred over a period of time while we're out here playing. Now what are you going to do? Are you going to have to leave the ball? Drop the ball, Fred. Drop it. Drop it. Fred, drop it. And I'll always follow through. That's the other thing. Drop it. Even though it's not the most important thing in the world that he drop it, except that just for the sake of our communication right now, Fred, drop it. Nope. Yes, good boy. Is that it's very important to follow through, because if you say something to your dog, especially if you're asking them to do something for you, and then you just go, oh, well, never mind, you don't want to do it, so I'm not going to ask you to, it loses all efficacy. So now, and then another thing is sometimes I'll throw it right next to that one. Well, now he's got to figure out what to do. And, just more, problem solving. Let's see what he'll do. Sometimes he'll pick up the frisbee first and he'll try to scoop the ball up, and I can tell that's what he's doing because he's so smart. He's trying to figure out a way to get them both, but either way, see if he'll try to try to do both. Oh, he can't get them both in his mouth. He's like, dang it, I hate to leave that there. Here, I'll get the ball. And see, this is good because when he comes back this way. Here, let me show you, Fred. Let me show you. Watch, come to the step. Come to the step. He's just now learned that there's this step over here. So, see, I can just use the two different toys for all kinds of fun things. Good boy, Fred. Now you have a step. Except what you can do here, I'll throw it back toward those steps. Take your Frisbee and you can go get the ball. And all will be well.